I wasn't really around in the 50s, um, but I heard they were pretty nice. Not really, actually. They had their problems. Everything has its problems, right? Everything has its problems. That was the best times. I don't know. Well, I wasn't really alive then. Not quite. Not where I knew anything that was going on. All right, we're streaming. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see the charts and you'll hear me delayed. They're delayed. Yeah, I mean, Steve, I think that that's true. If you send a notification and it's last minute, people are busy and they don't have time. So that's why email could be better. Email could be better. I just think the people I really want to see, I find the time. Most of them, I make it live. If I can't make it live, then I'll watch the stream after. But we need to post more and more on social media, which I'm doing. I'm starting to really use our Twitter. If you all check out our Twitter, or X, I should say, I'm using X much more. Most of you don't need it because I'm posting things that I send to us, like really cool trades, um, invitations. But we're using Twitter more. We just opened TikTok. Um, we have Instagram and Facebook. We're using them more and more. That should help get more people to streams. I think I'm going to probably stay with the MNQ and go add the NQ also. I think the NQ should give us some better profits. That's what I'm thinking. I think NQ I'll start next week. Calvin, what does that mean in English? Tell me, I don't quite understand what you're saying. What he blasts out notices and shorts constantly. Well, I don't know what that means. What do you mean? Oh, he does a lot of YouTube shorts. Yep, yep, yep. Yes, that's absolutely on my list to do a lot more shorts. I'm looking for some good AI programs to help me with videos. I've been doing that over the past couple of days, trying to figure out which AI programs are the best to help me with my videos. So, hey, people are starting to come in on YouTube. Thanks on YouTube. We're getting ready to trade the market open. Once again, gold is just relentlessly going up. Look at where our magnet took place, everybody. Way down here. Look, our magnet entry was right here. That was our magnet entry. It was 38. Hang on. Our magnet entry or our exit was 91.10. Our magnet exit was 91.10. Had you used the second position, had you used the second position, it went up $9.9. We wouldn't have taken advantage of all of that unless you would have trailed. If you had the opportunity to trail, there was $900 of profit left on the table because we didn't use a second position on the magnet trade. And that is the power of second and third positions if you want to use them. Now, gold does something very cool. It really, really likes to sell off after it makes a new high. Now, I might lose money on this short right here. It is a magnet short. So the first thing I would do is put an exit, and I shorted 3, so I want to buy 3 if my idea fails here above the high, and I want to put in a buy at the bottom there, and I want to make that 3. If my idea is right, I just want a little scalp, see if it breaks down a little bit. Because gold is so bullish, this may not work. It's so bullish. Will it continue to make new highs um, before the open? I think there's a possibility we get a little more of a sell-off here to possibly test this tiny profit. It's not a very big profit that I'm looking for. And then on the other chart, let's talk about the open. Let me put a chart on the, by the way, the crosshair is something that if you're looking for price can be very handy to use. You right click the chart, go to crosshair, and you can just turn it on and off. I used the local crosshair. Bingo, I made my profit on a little bit of a gold sell-off. Why did I take that trade? I took that trade because I've been watching gold for 8 years, and when it's done making a new high, even on a bullish day, up $30, $40, it does a really nice sell-off. It does a really nice sell-off. Francis, I agree 1000% that my problem on the YM is my stop is too small. Absolutely true. So let's humor ourselves and let's use the YM with a bigger stop today, one contract to keep our risk down. And see, also we do have a range trade set up on the YM. I don't know if Langford is here or not. Langford, are you here? Are you listening in this morning? Langford is great. He sends me sometimes his weekly profit and loss in his market opens, and he's been doing really well. He's been doing very well. Uh, Not great on the NQ, but very good on the RTY. Way better than us on the YM, and I do believe he's using a range on the YM. And we had a range on the YM when we first started, so we may go back to trying the range on the YM also. Also. But for today, uh, I'm interested in YM with a bigger stop. Friday, usually I like to trade the Friday open because there's news at 8:30, but there's no news at 8:30 this morning. Calvin, press the arrow on the toolbar. The arrow. Oh, oh, hey, I never knew what that was. Never paid attention to it. Never paid attention to it. So if you press the arrow on the toolbar, you could turn the crosshair off and on. So what's the difference between the local and the global crosshair? Can someone explain that to me? And I'm not embarrassed not to know everything. I don't know everything about every platform. Um, Oh, global is all charts. Okay. Thank you. Got you. Local is the one you're on. Makes sense. Francis, I'd like to play back a settings template for a couple of weeks before using it for a live trade. Francis, there's one problem with doing an open for a couple of weeks. You know what it is? It could change. You might only get a couple of weeks of that setup. So I'm willing to try something if I can get 3 out of 5, 3 out of 4. I'll take a chance maybe with one contract, right? On the open, I'm willing to take a little more risk if something appears to be working. Or if, obviously, too, if members have a setup and someone says, hey, I've been trading this every day for 2 months and it's working great, and I look at it and it looks very promising, I might try it if I trust that member. So there are a lot of different reasons why I might be willing to try something. Now, cash is different. I'm much more serious about our cash account. We have a cash account that the company took money out of it at 12,000. It's now up to 14,500. But I've been trading it really sparingly and very carefully. But I've had very few losing trades on it because of the way I've been trading it. But not enough profit to support myself on it if I say I wasn't working here. You have to trade fairly regularly if you're going to A, supplement your income, B, try to make a full-time income, which is hard. No one's going to lie and say making a full-time income is easy. It's hard. All right. Did they give me the money they took out? No, they did not. Let's get our charts. MNQ 1225. All right, MNQ's been working very nicely. Now something goofed up my chart. I'm going to shrink my indicators down. All right. And MNQ. Couple of things that I didn't say. I just wanted to tell you that quick crazy story. So the crazy story is I sold the folding phone I hated that I bought from China. I just didn't like it. It was actually a beautiful phone. It was the Vivo X5 Fold X5 Pro, X5 Fold Pro, Fold X5 Pro. Beautiful phone. But I'm not cheap. I hate spending $2,000 on a phone because I just can't enjoy it because I feel like it's too much money for a phone. I know the phone is like the most important thing these days. It's a computer. I love foldable phones, but I didn't want to spend 2 grand on the Samsung 7 Fold Z Fold 7. It's the best foldable in the US. Second best foldable is the Honor Magic V5. Definitely the second best foldable in the world. If you go world, Samsung, probably the Honor's #1, Samsung #2. Although I would say people love the Samsung better than any phone I've ever seen reviewed anywhere ever in my life. Make a long story short, I bought a $439 Pixel Fold, which is like 2 years old. And I've owned the Microsoft Surface Duo 2, which was the original folding phone. It was phenomenal. And mine broke. I bought a replacement. Some of you know the story if you've been here for a while. And my good one finally broke. My backup I sold, and I needed the software is just, there's no updates, no security updates, no Android software updates. So I needed a new phone, and I got the Pixel Fold a couple of days ago. And I actually really like the phone, other than the fact that it weighs about 80,000 pounds. In all seriousness, you could use it as a weapon on the street. It's so heavy. That's its only shortcoming. The screens are beautiful. When it opens, it's awesome. And I love it. So if you want to get into folding phone technology for a song and a dance, The Pixel Fold refurb premium condition on Amazon or new $599 new is an awesome deal and I would recommend it. Anyway, let's go. MNQ Open. And you do need a weapon phone in Philly. Not really. Philly's pretty nice actually. So MNQ. People lie. They want to make you think that things are not what they are. I'm going to load my template. MNQ Open. Do I like Google as a company? Not too crazy about them. I don't like companies that settle lawsuits because they're afraid they are too lazy or cheap to go to trial and defend democracy. That's a problem for me. All right. And Google just settled something that is disgraceful, in my opinion. Not going to talk about it, not going to rant about it. News companies that settle, not a news company anymore. They've lost all, you lose all your credibility if you don't stand up for what you are. Whether right or left. I don't care if you're right or left. Stand up for what you believe. All right, MNQ. MNQ. Open. Where's my template? MNQ Open. Dated yesterday. I'm renaming it to date it today. That's why I like dating these templates so you know which is the current one. Okay? And then when you load it, double click load, it saves the new name and it loads the template. So MNQ is a breakout. We're triggering at 929.59, 30 bracket. The number of contracts is up to you. I'm not telling anyone how many contracts to trade. You have your risk profile. You have your account. You make your own choice about contracts. Don't do what I do because it's not necessary to follow me in terms of contract size. But one thing that I do is I load my position one with a couple of extra contracts. So if we only hit target one, I'll get a little bit of extra money if I have an extra contract. One way to try to make a little bit more money with micros or regular size is to add a contract to target one. That way, when you get a target one trade that reverses and hits your stop, you make a little bit extra money. So I like doing that, especially with micros. So I do that on my market open trade with the MNQ. The targets are 25 and 50. We do recommend those targets. They're working well. I use the target one stop move. If my first target is hit, I move my stop to BE minus 40. Our stop is 100 ticks. 100 ticks times 50 cents. It's a $50 per contract trade. Okay? So if you trade two contracts, you're ballpark risking $100. Why am I saying ballpark? Because we know that stops can be gone through, just like you can get extra money on targets, you can get extra money on stops, or you could lose on your stop. The stop is not guaranteed. It's very important to understand stops are not guaranteed. If a market is ultra fast, it might blow through the stop and take a while to hit. And it's important to understand that. Very fast markets can cause haywire, like we saw yesterday. I was thinking of making a weekend video all about crazy things that have happened when we've traded. People get scared. You don't want people to get scared because more often than not, good things are happening. But it is interesting to understand that sometimes crazy things happen. It's part of life and trading. And it's important for people to understand it can happen, but you're always going to get a significant amount of people that they're just afraid of their own shadow, no matter what. Oh, there's slippage. I can't do it. I can't trade news. There's slippage. I got to go. There's slippage. All right, here's our setup. Here's our setup. Breakout. Triggering at 929.59. Bracket of 30. Position 1, as many contracts as you want. Position 2, same. Position 3, if you want to add 3, a third position. Target 1, 25 ticks. Target 2, 50. The stop is 100. Target 1, stop move, if that's what you want to do. If you want to move your stop, if your first target gets hit, I like to use break even minus 40. It'll move my stop 60 ticks to break even minus 40 if my first target gets hit. Usually you have the opportunity to adjust and move your stop manually on the market opens. All right? These trades can be managed most of the time. Choose the account you're trading. Also, label your trade, MNQ open. Apply it and OK it. Now, I'm going to set the time to 0 for a moment to look at the bracket management. How's the width of the brackets for trading? Are they too tight? Are they too wide? Are they nice for trading? Can you see the highs and lows? I like to be able to see my highs and lows on the chart, especially for the open, because very often we're going to hit those areas. We've got a magnet. You have a custom magnet trade to the VWAP on the market open this morning. You also have a custom magnet, maybe the last evening's open or the PP, right? Not counting highs of days and lows of days, which are fairly far away. 1 week, let's just do a magnet week, and we'll do magnets only on the opens. So I wanted to check the bracket width. It looks fine, and now I'm going to put the time back to 9:29:59. Bracket 30, position 1, position 2, choose your contract sizes. Targets 25, 50, stop 100. You can also trail stops if you prefer trailing. All right. If you want to trail stops, there's a trailing stop mode. You turn it on. You can trail if you hit target 1, you could start there, or you could just start trailing if it's turned on. When the trailing is on, I use tick for tick. Number of trailing ticks is 1. Fixed distance gets ignored. What that means is tick for tick. If you're 1 tick profit, you're trailing 1 tick. If you're 2 ticks profit, you've trailed 2 ticks. Trailing is a way to reduce your stop, right? Nothing wrong with using trailing. A lot of people use it. I like managing in real time most of the time, and I'm just hooked on the target 1 stop move. So now apply it. Okay, all my changes take place. Put my chart on the market open chart, turn it on, and set up our after the news possible trade. Add a second strategy, news trader. Change it from breakout to reverse continue. We're on micros, so I'm just going to trade 1 position, a couple of contracts for a discretionary trade. And we'll go for 40 tick target and a 75 tick stop on our discretionary trade. And then I'm going to trade it in the same account. This is usually an after the breakout, after the open trade. Label it, MNQ, reverse continue. Now, the YM. Do I want to trade the YM? I've been not trading the YM well. I mean, that's the reality. My stops have been too small. And I have not been doing well with the YM. Whoops. The YM is pretty tight again. It's in a pretty tight range. It's been selling off since 6 a.m. heavily. Since 6 a.m., it's sold off over 100 ticks, 100 points. Looks like 120. Okay. YM looks to me like it might be a better magnet this morning than a breakout. And I like that low magnet YM trade. I'm kind of interested in that. Um, but I'm going to do a one contract YM breakout, I believe. Um, and I think next week, maybe we'll do magnet opens. You can always trade the MNQ on one account and do magnets. We could do magnets on another account. So YM, look, it's kind of tight in its ranges. It's got 840. It's 80 ticks away from the low, and it's 112 ticks away from the high. It's almost in between them both, but it's been selling off, right? So that's why I think the low test magnet might be stronger this morning, stronger than our breakout. But it's Friday. I'm going to do the breakout, load my YM template, YM open, redate it. Today is 10/3, right? Load it up. And we got 929.59. I think I'm going for a 25 bracket. One position. So I'm going to try and do what I did yesterday and I just want a quick scalp on the YM. But it's really hard to scalp with one. It's hard to scalp with one contract in some ways because your risk is so much higher than your trade. It makes it hard to get motivated. Let's do a just a 20, not a scalp, it's a 20 tick target. The stop, I've got to go with a 50 stop and see if we can just survive longer. See if we can survive longer. You can trade MYM on the open. And if the market moves 15 ticks in our favor, doesn't quite get to 20, let's move the stop to break even plus 11. So if we get a partial move to our target, if the market moves 15 ticks in our favor, we'll move the stop to break even plus 11. Move stop BE plus 11. Calvin, ISM with the bigger settings on the gold stop has been decent, but today there's a lot more volatility and risk because there was no jobs report. So people are hanging on to the ISM results much more strongly than they would have been normally. Let me put my time on 0 real quick on our YM to see where our brackets shape up. Is there really no movement? There we go. So we're right above the VWAP. So let's see what happens on our YM breakout. 929.59 with a 25 bracket and just looking for 20 ticks, but really not even. Because if the market moves 15 ticks in our favor, it's going to move the stop to plus 11. I'm also setting up a reverse continues second strategy, one position. I'll do a 40 tick target on that, and I'll do a 40 tick stop on that. Same account. Everything's being traded in the market open account number 15. Label it YM reverse continue. And that account's still doing well. It's not like I'm killing the account, but when you look at it, it's been staying the same for the past week because of the YM. Been making money on MNQ. I've been losing on the YM. We're 51,596. We started at 50,000. So, Nitin, I'll tell you, the currency testing has not been great on ISM. It hasn't been great. I think it's better on manufacturing than on services. Let's get ready for the open, and then we're going to get ready for ISM. ISM is at 10. So MNQ filled long. I'm going to cancel my YM. Well, it's kind of dull. It's kind of dull. MNQ struggling to go up. It's struggling. Hits the first target, shrinking the stop, probably too much. Trying not to shrink it too much. So MNQ just made like 18 bucks. YM trying to get that plus 11. The 15 tick, we can't get that 15 ticks of movement on the YM that we want. Trying. I'm going to close my YM trade, maybe. Come on. All right, so it pulled back to 11 and gave me a it gave us 10 ticks. It gave us 10 ticks. So the YM worked. It was a small open because the MNQ reversed and only got a couple of contracts on the first target. So not a big winner. YM 11 ticks. So it's only 70 bucks, not even. Small opening winner. Small opening winner. Now, MNQ is looking to test the high. That's what it's looking like. Is it going to? It's right at the VWAP, right at the VWAP. Take a small scalp, see if it'll go part of the way. I don't even want the whole way. MNQ, I got to turn off my breakouts. There's not a lot of upward momentum. Not a lot of upward momentum. We don't need a lot. Not looking for all that much. Come on. Give me a little pop here. Little pop to the high. If the YM continues up, that might help. Now, YM was so negative before the open. It was really negative before the open. So the MNQ, it really looks like it doesn't want to go up, unfortunately. It doesn't look like it wants to go up. Now, where should the stop really be? It should be below all of this. It really should be below all of that. That's the honest truth. That's where it should be. Do you want to give back all your profit this morning? That's not necessarily the best decision, right? Also, you could put it right where it just went. Right where it just went, the VWAP got broken. That's not a good sign. Yet the YM is pushing up. The YM is pushing up. So NQ had a much better setup this morning. Is that what you're saying, Calvin? What was your setup on the NQ? You using that crazy setup? Looks like the YM wants to do a magnet here. It's a little bit late. It's a little bit late. It is a little late. And the MNQ, my worry is that our MNQ is going to fail and we're going to wind up losing $100. Son of a gun on the YM. The YM is it testing the high as we speak. The YM did the magnet. It did the magnet. Surprisingly to the high side. Now, if you did a high of day, low of day magnet, you would have left, there would have been no reason not to leave it on for both sides. I would have wanted to leave it on for both sides. Why not? If it decides to go up, you might as well take advantage of it, right? What are you using as your targets, Calvin? What are you using as your targets and stop? Targets and stop. All right. So we're going to stick around for ISM. Going to stick around for ISM. See if we can get out of this MNQ flat or with a profit. It's just hanging around that VWAP, but my worry is it's going to sell off a little bit. Even though it's bullish, it's not negative. The MNQ isn't negative. There's just not a lot of motivation. The squeeze is against us. The squeeze is against us. Now I want to get set up for ISM. So I have more than one setup for the ISM. So I'm removing my YMs. It's another reason why we label our trades. You don't want to accidentally remove the trade you're in, right? You don't want to accidentally remove the trade you're in. What do you mean you canceled it? What do you mean you canceled it, Calvin? You canceled before you got to your targets? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're saying? Francis, thanks for the screenshot. Oh, you canceled, you moved your stop way out of the way? You moved your stop way out of the way? Is that what you're saying? I got you. Okay. So Calvin's basically using an unlimited stop. You're using an unlimited stop when you trade the NQ. But how much of a loss are you willing to take? That's the question. How much loss are you willing to take? You'll allow the account to blow on one trade. Now that's an account that's on the verge of going bad anyway, correct? Is that what you're saying? That's not a normal everyday trade. Let's be clear, right? So Calvin has a strategy that he uses when an account is close to being finished, blown out. Now, if the MNQ would just let me get out with a small profit, I'll do it so we could get ready for ISM. ISM, we have an RTY setup. And we have a gold setup. The gold setup is a fair amount of risk. Oh, there's a contest on one on. I always forget what ETF stands for. What's ETF? Which prop company? They have a contest so people blow out their accounts like crazy. Why do you think they have these contests? So people can blow out their accounts like crazy. These prop firms, they know how to make money, folks. They know how to make money by convincing you to blow out your account. Seriously. Let's have a contest. So everybody blows their accounts to smithereens and has to reset them or buy new accounts. That's what happens. That's prop. That is prop. I've never seen an industry quite like it before. Never. I'm just watching this MNQ. Like I said, I just want a tiny win. Tiny. So I just don't want to take a loss. So we can get ready for ISM. So just give me a little pop here. I'm not asking for a lot. Just cover my expenses. And now we don't have much time, so I'm putting my stop fairly close. Fairly close. Because like I said, we got to get ready for ISM and I want that chart. Yeah, I could leave it trading in the background. Come on, buddy. Waiting for half the prop firms to fail. There haven't been too many failures. Okay, so we got our small little target right there. I'm turning off my MNQ. So the MNQ scalp I took, it survived. It survived. All right. So now we're getting ready for ISM. ISM, I believe there's extra risk today. All right. And I do want to thank people on YouTube for sticking around. We have a few people watching. Never as many as I'd like. I think our gold setup certainly has risk. If you use the bigger stop, we got out of that MNQ at exactly the right second, didn't we? Exactly the right second. I'm just looking to see if Moran said something, the Fed's Moran, to cause that sell off, that instant sell off. Um, Fed policy should be forward looking. I'm trying to see if he said it. He must have said something the market didn't like. Anyway, ISM services with gold would be a little bit better, but there were a couple of trades that really damaged prop trading. April was an insane prop account data problem, as was June. April and June. Even though June shows as a standard winner, there were lots of people that had problems with data. With data. Gold has risk. All right? Gold has risk. The RTY has a fairly big stop, but it might be a little bit safer for the trade. Okay? Now, what's interesting, and we have a minute or two to start setting up trades. I do think that last month we did try a euro or a yen on this trade. Let me see if my memory is working. So we had the open that morning, and then we did try the yen, and it was not very impressive. It was not impressive. It just didn't move enough. If you notice, it jolted down, reversed, and then it did not follow through. Now, that doesn't mean the euro couldn't have had a better move. Gold, on the other hand, had an excellent breakout. It had a very good breakout, and that was September's trade. Okay? Gold had a good breakout. In August, gold got stopped. RTY was in the middle. The issue with gold is if the stop was too small, you wouldn't have survived the pullback because it was a quick burst up. The bigger stop allowed for gold to survive that trade. And that's one of the reasons we updated the setup. Okay? The bigger stop, and you wouldn't have gotten stopped out on that gold pullback. It's almost too fast to see with the naked eye. But what happens in a fast market? In a fast market, you can get filled towards the top of the candle rather than at a better spot. Then you get a pullback as the news is being released, right? And if your stop's too small, it takes you out. So I will risk a gold trade in a prop account, which is a fair amount of risk because it's 30 bucks, 30 ticks per contract. It's $300 per contract. You can trade one contract on gold. That is a way to reduce risk on this report. So I'm going to set up two trades. I'm going to trade RTY in one account, one prop account, and I'll trade gold in the other account. And then Nitin will report to us on 6E probably. All right. So we'll get members trading different things to give us feedback. And that's always helpful. So I'm setting up a gold chart, GC 1225. Gold is extra risky today because it hasn't stopped making new highs. Look, new high, it hasn't stopped since we got here at 8 o'clock. It's just been relentless. So I would trade a one contract gold trade on this, and I'll show everybody how to do it. Okay. It's just even too much risk for me. I don't want to ruin an account. You can use a one contract trade to reduce your risk and still make a nice profit if it works. So I'll show everybody how to do it. So here's how you trade. Use the DMM to trade a one contract trade. Right click the chart, click strategy, double click news trader. It's a breakout. The time of the trade, it's a 10 o'clock event. We're triggering Eastern time 9:59:59. That's our trigger time. To clarify, let me get there. We're using a bracket of 15. Position 1 is the only position we're using. I'm using a one contract, one position trade. So position 2 is a 0, 3 is a 0, target 2 is a 0, target stop move is a 0, the stop is 30. Stop loss ticks is 30. All right. Our second target is 29. Look at the DMM. What has happened on winners? 122 ticks in May, 58 ticks in June, 75 ticks in September. So we could use 35, for instance. You could just use target 29. If you want to just use the DMM and not try to analyze, right? You would set your target for 29. All right, I'm going to set it for a tiny bit bigger. I'm going to set it for 35. Why? Because every time there's a winning trade, you have good moves. 120, 58, 75 ticks, 35 on the target lets us do the next thing and maybe make a little more profit. So, make believe target 1 is a range between 29 to 35. You could look at it that way. Target 2 is a 0, target 3 is a 0, stop move is a 0, stop is 30. Then you go down to if the market moves 20 ticks, let's say 22 ticks. All right. We don't get to our 29 or 35, you follow me, but the market starts working in our favor and it goes 22 ticks and then it changes direction, reverses, and tries to stop us out. If that should happen, and it goes at least 22 ticks in our favor, we can move the stop to break even plus 15, right? Or 17. So that if it reverses, our stop is popping up to plus 17 to protect the profit of the 22 tick move before it reverses and stops us out. Now, if you don't move your stop at all, maybe the reversal's only 28 ticks and it doesn't stop you out anyway because your stop is 30. So this is a little bit more conservative. If there's a reversal, you might reduce your profit to 17 ticks. If it doesn't challenge the stop and then changes direction back to the profit direction, that can happen. You could cut some of your profit off, but you're being a little more conservative by just trying to protect profit if it reverses. And we've seen a fair amount of reversing on this report, so it's not a bad strategy. So one more time, trigger at 959.59. Bracket is 15, one position, 35 target, 30 on the stop. Now, if you're using a 35 target, if the market moves 25 ticks, move your stop to 20. The reason you're using that 35 is to eke a little more profit out of the trade. Then go down, choose the account you're trading. I'm going to leave it on sim for a minute to test our brackets and label the trade breakout GC for gold. Apply it. And then if you're going to test your brackets and make the time 0, activate 0, apply it, okay it, put your charts on sim, make sure your account is on sim when you test brackets, enable a 0 time trade. See, they're too narrow. I want them spread a little wider. And 15 looks like we'll survive a 15 bracket. Right click, strategy, put the time back to the correct trigger. 9:59.59 is our trigger. And put your account on the account you're trading. Now I have to look and see what accounts I want to trade. Take a quick look. You have to have everything closed. I'll trade it on an account we haven't used this morning so we could see how this trade does. Number 20 looks good. Right click, click strategies. Everything is set except we need to choose the account. Number 20. Apply it. Okay. By the way, Bullinox is having they're extending their sale. Put the chart trader on 20. Chart trader on 20. And adding a second strategy, click news trader, reverse continue, just trading one contract on a gold discretionary trade after the news if we want to. 25 tick target. All you need for a reverse continue is a position, a target, and a stop. 30 stop, 25 on the target, one contract, one position, one is a one. Same account, 20. Label it GC. Reverse GC continue. Apply it, okay it. So now we have a reversal set up for gold, and our breakout is set for gold. And I'll also do the RTY in a different account. We have an RTY set up. Right click the chart, click strategy, double click news trader, triggering at 9, same time, 9:59:59, bracket is 15. Position 1 is 15 ticks. Position 2 is 29. Sorry, position 1 is a 1. That would be 30 contracts. Position 2 is a 1. Target 1 is 15. Target 2 is 29. The stop is 45. I'll use my BE minus 5 on my target 1 stop move because I'm trading multiple setups. Breakout RTY is the label. Right now we're on SIM, so I want to see the bracket management. RTY making new highs. It's difficult to trade when everything's making new highs. All right. Right click, click on strategy, choose the account. What account? Do I have an account that I haven't used this morning? 20 we used for the gold. Let's use account number 25. We've done very little in that one. It's up like 24 bucks. So put it on account 25. Breakout RTY, apply it, okay it. Put your chart trader on 25, enable it, and don't forget to change your time back, right? If you don't change your time back, it's going to trigger your brackets. That's why I don't trigger from inside the software. People have asked before. It's 9:59:59. I was trading for 9:30. My mistake. That's why it triggered. 9:59:59 is the trigger time. Now I can enable it and quickly set up an RTY. Reverse continue one position. Position 1 is a 1. Do a target of 25. Everything else is 0 except the stop. We'll do a 35 on the stop. And that we're doing in account number 25. Label it RTY, reverse continue. Apply it, okay. So we're ready. Don't forget to enable it. Need to see the news. See what this news is going to be. Here we go. ISM. Shrink it down. That's the important news we need to see. We want to see, it's nice to see the previous. And we'll try and keep it out of the way. So we'll keep it down here. That should work. We should see everything. So the one reminder is there is a Bullinox sale. All right. There is a Bullinox sale. PTF 91. 50K account is $15.75. And the code is in there. I'll post it for anyone that wants it after the trade. Let's see what happens here. Gold, like I said, it has risk because you just never know if gold's going to give you a straight move or if it's going to whip. That's always the concern with gold. So gold, it's lower than expected, but it's not working. Gold did not work, and the RTY did a whip. For goodness sake, gold gold did a whip. Not, it didn't really whip. It just did not follow through. It did not follow through. The news, it really should have filled short. It should have filled long. I'm sorry, because the news was quite a bit worse than expected. It was 49.9 on the business activity, 50 on the main news versus 51.8 on the manufacturing, and manufacturing prices look like they were up, but we just didn't get a good response in either instrument. Not a good response in either instrument. And there's nothing you can do when you don't get a good response. So the gold breakout, I'm just taking it, canceling it. RTY, it's a little bit difficult to take a second trade here because you're fighting trend. You're fighting pretty strong trend with what appears to be negative news. Okay? Appears to be negative news. Now, I don't like going short. It's a tough short on gold because it's been making relentless new highs over and over and over all day, all morning. But the news appears to be negative. It does appear to be negative. Now we'll look at the video to see exactly what happened. So I think I'm done for the week. This was a tough week. This was not an easy week. The first tough week in a while. Definitely the first tough week in a while. We've had a lot of weeks of great trades. This was the first difficult week I can remember. I'm watching gold. Gold, it's been relentless. It's been relentless. It has to sell off a little bit. The news has already made its move, I think. Can we get a little bit of this back? It's trying. It's trying. Maybe it'll go halfway. Maybe it'll go halfway. Looking for a little bit back out of gold because I think a lot of traders are looking long on gold. So got back a buck 40 on that scalp. Got back 140. Cut the loss not quite in half, almost in half. But look how careful. Let's see what gold does now. As it can continue down. The reason I was willing to take that shot is because it's been making new high after new high after new high after new high. I think there's still room to go to the downside on gold. But it's risk. There's risk. Look at the squeeze. Squeeze is against us. Squeeze is against us. That was not the smartest trade. I think we got a little bit lucky. But if it goes and makes another high, I mean, gold, it's gonna do its sell off from the high, which it hasn't done in hours and hours and hours. Look at the charts. It's been relentless. Up, up, up. It's been a few sell offs, but it's definitely due for some retracement. But look how it's struggling not to retrace. We got lucky. We got lucky. 6S is tough, Nitin. You know why? Because it's a low liquidity instrument. 6S is hard because of liquidity. The Swiss franc. Now, the RTY, it did it did a pretty good sell-off from the high. And I think obviously it's news related. News related. I would not jump in. I'm not dying to jump in here because it's a chase. I don't like to chase. I do chase, but I don't like to. Certainly, the thinking is, will it get to the VWAP? Will it get to the VWAP? Is it worth it? Is it worth a shot? The squeeze is pretty heavily down. It's still bullish on the day. So the question is the chase going to work? That's a thought folks on YouTube are going to have to ponder. I want to thank everyone for joining us on YouTube. I'm going to end the stream. Thank you. And we'll see you next week when we stream again for next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you know the next time we stream. And I'll see you on YouTube next week. Thank you for joining.